Yeah, I can totally agree with you, Blake. You know, I wish they didn't show what he had first, but the thing is, if the movie starts off with him showing up on Earth, he had to have gotten the other ones already. So, and here comes my Grim Reaper.
Put them both right here. Real quick. Entertain our guests.
I'm always the one that entertains our guests, dude. Marshall just doesn't know what he's doing in this podcast realm. I mean, seriously, I've been dragging him along for 3 effing years now, and so 3 years. I'll drag. Honestly, I've been dragging him around for 18 years, but we'll see how it goes. There's only so much I can give him. It's kind of just weird and sad at this point, and seriously, he needs to be pulling his own weight, really. And I don't think I'm doing any favors at this point. And it's just amazing how much he needs help. And seriously, it's weird, and I think it's amazing how Marshall does what he does. And he's amazing. Yeah. And he's fantastic.
Full of shit. Full of freaking shit. I could hear you in the bathroom.
Oh, could you?
Talking shit.
I wasn't saying anything.
Yeah, I beg to differ, bro.
Yeah, actually, I did see, Eddie, that they're doing 30 hours of Marvel. It's actually, I believe it was in the newsletter I put out yesterday.
He doesn't read your newsletter. Boom. Got him. All right, so let's see. I gotta check something.
Blake said he thought the Infinity War poster would be the picture, to be honest.
Oh, fucking change it.
You're the one with the thing over there, dude. Jeez.
Ooh, there's a big thing we gotta cover.
That's what she said. Boom!
All right, I think I'm just gonna cover this one post. Can you stop being inappropriate? That'd be great. Flashpoints. Okay. I think I'm just gonna cover this one. Problem is some SWTOR stuff dropped right after I finished this earlier, and I've got to cover something else, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to... You're going to hand me that shot. We're going to take it, and then I'm going to read this really quick. Oh, I see. This is the pose for there. Okay. Well, that's not as bad as I thought, but we may not have to go through this whole thing. We'll see. But our SWTOR section's so short anyway. Goddamn ants. I'm okay. Thank you for noticing. Thanks for your back. Thanks for getting my back, okay? No, seriously, I don't have time to go through this whole thing. Change mission objectives. I might save this for next week and see how it unfolds. I might get the beginning of it, but don't thumbs up me. Okay, that's inappropriate. All right, cool. All right, man. So let me get the bumpers up here. Ready to go. What were you in the chat talking about besides shit?
Actually, they weren't saying anything in response to it, actually.
You were just a stream of BS.
It was a stream of consciousness, yeah.
That I'm going to edit out and not listen to?
Dude, seriously, I can't tell you how full I am.
Yeah, you said it a few times.
Well, yeah, that is true, Eddie. I did say that Marshall was sexy.
Inaccurate. No. Not that it's not true, but that he said it. Because look at me. I said it.
Well, we both know I'm the sexy one.
Indeed. All right.
I'm the Mary.
What? All
It's
right.
a Romeo and Michelle reference.
Oh, that's an old poll, dude.
Yeah.
Is this
That's what she
1998?
said to you. Wait, I'm older.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start this.
We
and
went
take the
to-
shot, and then I'm going to figure out
We went to Crow's Nest, Eddie.
how to say this.
I had a chicken marsala, chicken mushroom marsala.
You're about to be silenced.
I'm talking to the audience. I'm ready when you are.
Thank you.
Go ahead and hit start. Whenever you are. You're making the shot again.
Blast came from the Death Star. That thing's operational.
Dr. Banner. Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
Hello and welcome to episode 130 of the Usual Podcast. Podcast we discuss Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Star Wars franchise, and geek and pop culture. I'm your host, Marshall. And with me, making a sour face because of the shot we just took, which was delicious, by the way, is my co-host, Will. What's up, Roham?
I am not a Scotch person.
Scotch is delicious. Don't make me waste shots of Scotch on you. This is not a cheap bottle, buddy.
I told you not to bring me one.
I know. I was gonna do it anyway. Anyway, we're just sitting here enjoying our usual frosty beverages. What you having?
I think enjoying is an overstatement. No, I mean the after effect is fine. Just the taste in my mouth. I'm not a Scotch person. If that was rum, I'd be all about it.
So what we're drinking is a 10-year aged Glenmorangie Scotch, which is quite nice, dude. It's literally one of my favorites. It's a sipping beverage. It's more of a shot.
Yeah,
beverage.
it's not a
Not really a shot beverage, but
no. That's something that should be have a nice big Death Star globe of ice in it.
yeah. And I'm also let's see, what did I have at dinner? I had some.
Yeah, 2 space dust.
I had a Space Dust. I'm drinking Hot Bullet from Sierra Nevada right now, and I don't know, man. It's been a long week. We're a little behind schedule tonight. We're about literally 40 minutes behind schedule, mostly because I had a golf match this evening with the team, and we're here, and
Oh, I didn't ask you. How'd you golf?
I played okay. I salvaged a couple holes. It was tough putting on really slow greens in the rain.
No hail this week.
No hail, but seriously, like I don't think I could have hit a putt harder downhill to have it come short of the hole, which was ridiculous. But anyway,
Well, why didn't you have somebody hold your purse?
seriously, like I could have hit a driver through that green, and it would have still come up short.
All right.
So before we get started, if you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Will is at Admiral Griggs on Twitter, and I am at Darth Pops. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, any place you get your podcasts. Like us, share us, tell your friends. Please tell your friends.
Please.
You like your friends, so tell them the things you like.
Go and give us 5 stars on iTunes.
You could do that too, but no one does.
I know, right? We have
I think iTunes is iTunes dying?
no, but I think it's become like that.
That thing people ask to do, but nobody does it?
No, I just think iTunes has become that thing where it's like that's where everybody gets their content and they take it for granted, so they don't rate anything or, yeah.
Anyway, we have merch, teespring.com/store/usual podcast. You can get some stuff with our logos and such on it and enjoy it. Some stuff from our Cantina events and some stickers and some iPhone cases and stuff like that. And of course, we have timestamps in the show notes if you're not a SWTOR fan. We don't have a ton of SWTOR, but we do have a couple things that happened after the last patch, after 5.8 dropped, so we'll be covering that today. And thanks to everybody in the chat room. We've had a great time through trailer time. We've been talking some smack and having a good time, and that's been great.
Well, I've been talking smack. You've just basically been taking it.
Inaccurate. So, but anyway, I want to give a little love to our Patreon peeps. Thank you, everybody who does contribute to this show. We do have one of our drinking buddies in the chat room, Mr. Are we saying his name? Yeah, I'm saying it. It's Eddie.
Eddie.
It's him. He's there. He'll be on the show soon. I've been slow burn.
Slow burn.
I'm working on it.
Is that his new nickname?
Slow burn. Slow burn Eddie. No, Eddie Slow Burn something. Gotta give him a cool last name.
Slow burn.
All right, whatever. I mean, I think you could have put a little more work into
Then
it.
he
But
says,
it's fine.
what's up?
Oh Lord. Okay. Anywho, so yes, so thanks for our drinking buddies to Eddie and of course Mr. John Skeen. I did put an article in here in the beginning of the show, which is weird. Sun King Brewing Company unveils new details on craft distillery in their tap room. This is something that did we talk about it last week?
He mentioned it during trailer time last week.
Yeah, and so he sent us a link, so I put a link in the show notes to that. If you tuned in last time and you were you were privy to that conversation.
Is it gonna have scotch?
God, I hope so. Anywho, man. So do you have anything else housekeeping wise, or should we just get to it?
No, I think that's basically it.
You literally have one job besides sitting there and saying things
and looking pretty, looking damn sexy.
Can you not talk through this bumper this time? Because I'm gonna play the bumper. You ready?
Go ahead. Start it. I'm ready.
You want to fight? I'm ready.
You do not have to stand against me. Instead, I will share all of this with you if you will only kneel.
I still don't know why this is so low over here.
Well, I'm sure it's just laying low,
Well,
and that's for show.
I'm increasing the volume a little bit. You guys let me know if you hear it on that end, but for some reason this is really low on my recorder, and I think that's been eating me later. Eating me? Biting me later. Okay, so here we are, SWTOR section. No, that's too loud. Oh, it auto adjusts. Whatever, I don't care. I hate everything about this. Okay, ready?
I hate everything about you.
Cool. So, community shoutouts, man. This is a huge community shoutout. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Are you though?
I am.
Did you look at the show notes?
I did not.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Remember Extra Life? The whole
Yes.
thing we do every year?
Oh, I heard about this.
Right?
Awesome.
So Extra Life 2017, which we were a part of through the guild.
Right.
We raised money. We play games, help
Big
kids.
Big bonus shout out here to the Unholy Alliance Guild.
Yeah, this is a big deal. Extra Life overall raised $11,124,217. Now, the crazy thing about this, man,
Is that I was responsible for $40 of that.
you killed it. So, but what I want to put out there is that every little bit, even your $40 and the little bit, I think I raised a few hundred, but the idea behind it is that many gamers got together for a cause, and through the course of a year for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, we raised almost, a little over $11 million.
That's so awesome.
And when I throw this out there to my friends and family and stuff, it's like, I'm gaming for money, to raise money. And they're like, oh, you're just playing video games for 12 hours. It's like
$11 million
yeah,
later.
well, here we are, $11 million later, right?
And what's awesome about it is it's not like it just goes to a nationwide fund. It specifically goes to the hospital of your choice.
Exactly. And we're all raising money for our hospitals of choice all throughout the country, and it's a great cause. So, and
like for me personally, I live in Northern California. I grew up in Southern California. I could easily choose any of the children's hospitals here, but I choose the one in Seattle because you remember the whole thing with my sister had an issue with her daughter, and that was all handled by Children's Hospital in Seattle.
Yeah, and so the reason I'm bringing this up is when we start talking about Extra Life again in a few months.
Yeah,
When
I
we
think
start,
the mid-season one is May, I think. Right?
yeah, I think in a couple months we'll do the mid-season one, and then we'll do the big push in, was it November?
November. First week of November usually.
Yeah, and so when we start talking about this stuff, support any, if there are any gamers that are part of this, I'm not telling you have to give them your money, but support them, share what they're doing, so that money can come in. This is the most that they've ever made.
Absolutely. And please message us or tweet us, or if you know us personally, talk to us. If you guys are interested, I could come up with a T-shirt for the usual podcast to celebrate Extra Life, and all proceeds that we do this year from that, all profits from it will go towards Extra Life.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So that's enough about that. But honestly, I'm proud of our guild. I'm proud of gamers out there. People say you can't, gaming is a waste of time. It's clearly not.
Oh, absolutely not.
Absolutely, clearly not. So, Geek and Game, dude. Speaking of wasting time, what'd you do this week?
Well, I did the patch actually on release date, which was kind of a big deal for me. I haven't been that on the ball with it in a while. I haven't had a chance to play the new content yet, but this last weekend I spent a couple hours in and I did some CXP grinding. I think I jumped 5 levels, so I think I'm in the 160s.
Nice.
It could be 130s. I just don't remember.
It's fine.
But
it's a big difference, but it's fine.
Well, no, but I'm getting up there, and so it's nice. And so I'm enjoying it.
For sure, man.
I mean, it's a great game.
Yeah, and we did What's an Ops group on Friday, and we tried Temple of Sacrifice, and
cool.
I think we got to 3rd boss. We hit a bit of a wall there. It took us a little while to get going, but honestly, man, I was bummed because the week before we didn't have enough people to play.
I remember.
So I don't know. We had plenty of people this last time. There was a lot of conflicts before, but really what I want to put out there is if you are interested in ops and you're listening to this, and you want to hang out with some people that aren't going to be mad at you if you screw up or something.
They're not going to bust your balls.
And we are basically sitting around drinking beverages and having a good time. Tune in to my stream, or just jump into the guild, ask for a guild invite, see the website unholyalliances.org, and check us out. It was a lot of fun. And even when we hit a wall, we had a great time.
Absolutely, because it's all about the talking in the chat.
Yeah, and we have some really good people in our group.
Absolutely, and we've been very fortunate to meet some of them in person.
We've been friends with them for years.
Absolutely.
So, and so New Conquest, So what I did was over the weekend I revisited Conquest for my personal goal, and I was working on that. And then because I knew the New Conquest was coming, and since it's happened, I'll talk more about this later. And I tried it out. I don't know. I think what we're going to talk about later I might contribute to, but I'm not bummed about the New Conquest. I just think that it
wasn't quite what you expected.
I was hoping it would be a lot. Forgiving is not the right word. I was hoping it would be a little more lucrative and less grindy.
Gotcha.
For an individual. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. I mean, but the whole concept of a conquest is really a grind.
It is a grind, but before it didn't feel like as grindy because I feel like there were more options and they were worth more. And right now I feel like there's less options and they're worth less. That's kind of how I feel.
Okay.
And granted, I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but that's kind of what I'm going to talk about later anyway.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to try playing some this weekend, and we can definitely talk. I'll be able to talk more about it next week.
All right. So let's jump into the patch notes real quick. I'm not going to go through all of them. Obviously, we've talked about them before. So 5.8 dropped. It seemed to be relatively, no massive bugs or exploits, which is kind of nice.
Good.
Isaac's the new boss is there. They did the Conquest revamp, which we'll talk about. Returning companions, Ashara Zavros, who I actually, because I'm an Inquisitor in my main, I got her. That was kind of a neat thing.
Nice.
And the conversation was actually, although short, kind of cool. It was nice to hear her voice again. And the reason that kind of spurred me on to try to do the Conquest thing was I wanted to buy the compendium thing,
right,
so that I could boost her up to 50 because I wanted to hang out with her again,
right? Yeah.
Right? Because I rekindled my romance, bro.
Aww.
I rekindled my romance. It was nice. I think I'm going to upset some people, and I think I may or may not have had a romance with someone else, but I can't remember. Doesn't matter. But I hit a bit of a wall on that, and I think I'm close, but we'll see. But Ashar is back. If you are an Imperial agent, Vector is back as well, which I'm actually on my DPS tune.
Mr. Hivemind
yourself. Yeah. I think my DPS that I'm CXP grinding, I think I'm through Kotfi and stuff. I'll be able to get him again, which I like Vector. He was cool.
Yeah, well, my main is the sniper, and so I've already gone through all that content. So look, I'll get him back. And I kind of liked him once he was the Hivemind, and I always dug his black eyes.
Exactly. I like black eyes too. So So then,
Okay, it sounded like you said you like black guys.
I did. It was a joke because I'm a black guy and it was funny. I thought, I mean, you blew it because you drew attention to it. This is a blooper.
I did. I totally ruined it.
I'm gonna leave it in.
I mean, honestly, I've been with you for almost 19 years now.
Here we go. I know it's ridiculous.
I obviously like black guys.
We're going on our second decade, my friend. All right, so
Almost third.
yeah, well, we're gonna get into our third. Can we move on? Companion romances. Arkin is back, of course. So if you want to romance somebody I brutally murdered earlier on, that's fine. There is an Isaac's event, which we've talked about as well. That is if you beat it, on the insane difficulty that's there, you'll get a legacy-based reward and a title and such with 5.9 drops.
Seriously, insanely hard.
No, it's stupid. No, there's no way we're doing it.
No. There's
Um,
like 10 people in the world that would get that title.
So there's some bug fixes and some other stuff. The conquest changes, like I said. And let's see, I'm going to jump down here. All this is conquest stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see. Oh, I thought this was interesting. Oh, I didn't see this. A vendor selling a special Isaac's decoration has been added to the game. The vendor will only appear for players who have earned an achievement for defeating Isaacs on any difficulty. That's kind of cool.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, if that's the case, why don't they just have it as a drop the first time you beat it?
No, here we are. So, and under items and economies, speaking of drops, to assist in combating credit inflation, this is like my favorite line they've ever said, the Galactic Trade Network's tax rate has been increased to 8% from 6%. We got tax increases.
I know, isn't that funny? Gosh, are they going to be bringing the Trade Federation in sometime soon?
God, I hope so. I hope that the trade negotiations don't go well, and then we have to solve that problem.
With aggressive negotiations.
Aggressive negotiations are the only way to solve any trade dispute, right?
Absolutely.
Here we are. So I just thought that was pretty funny. And then that's pretty much it. There's some other stuff in there, but I'm not going to bother with that. Patch notes aside, Conquest rewards. This is a quick little deal. It's basically saying because of the revamp, you probably won't get your Conquest rewards for the week before that. And they're hoping to get that to them at some point. This will happen similar to the mass grant they did previously, so they'll work on that. What else we got? Oh, double XP and CXP are back. Are you kidding me right now?
I was seeing how long it took you to notice. For those of you watching, I was pretending to be asleep at the bottom of an elevator. I'm actually excited about the XP and double CXP. Especially if I play this weekend, I'm going to be enjoying that.
Yeah, I took advantage of it a bit. I advanced quite a few CXP levels and the little things I did the last couple days, so that's good.
Perfect.
And then what else do we have? There's a weird thing where doing the Balmora Heroic 2 will grant an Ilum conquest goal as finished. And I think this has been around for a while, actually.
That's interesting.
They're not labeling, and the reason I put this in here, not only is it funny, but they're not labeling it as an exploit, first of all,
right,
because it's something that's been around. They're planning to fix soon, but also like it's just what it is. So funny. If you do Balmora Heroic 2 and you get your conquest goal on Ilum, you're welcome.
More power to you.
Yeah. And then there's an issue with. Let me open this up.
Oh my gosh, are there issues with solo ranked PvP?
Indeed. So it looks like they're looking at the solo rank mission rewards. It looks like the changes that they made to the rewards in 5.7 reverted, so they're not currently giving their intended reward. So hopefully there'll be an update on that soon.
Okay, cool.
So that's fun. And conquest feedback and upcoming changes. So this goes into
the fact that nobody likes the new conquest?
Yeah, everybody hates it. Oh my god, it's the worst. I don't even know. So they opened up this thread. And I was like, well, let me check out this thread.
Did they name the thread Can of Worms? Bless you.
You might as well have. So it's called Conquest Feedback and Upcoming Changes. So they're like, oh, put all your feedback here. And most of the people were like, can you just change it back to what it was?
Can you please change it back to the stuff we were bitching about for 3 years?
Well, but But the thing is, it's not. Most people weren't complaining about the way Conquest was.
No, they were just complaining the fact that it was.
Yeah, they weren't getting the rewards
Right.
and stuff, and that was a problem. But I feel like now, and I'm not in the camp fully about like put it back the way it was, because I like the interface, and that seems to be across the board. People like the interface, and this is our discussion.
Well, are
topic.
these the same people that are still arguing to go back to the old Facebook wall?
or the old Snapchat?
Old Snapchat?
So look, man, I'm in the camp. The interface is great. I like the way it flows. I like being able to see. You can sort things like by things completed and how much they're worth and all that kind of stuff. My issue is that, and there's some other people out there. I just feel like nothing is worth anything. It takes
Okay.
and like as a solo player, because I'm not talking about guild.
You're saying it's even more grindy.
Yeah, I'm not talking about solos. I'm not talking about guild stuff.
Okay.
As far as solo play goes, I had a really hard time figuring out what I was going to do. I feel like there were less options, and they weren't worth a lot. Less repeatable stuff,
Right.
stuff like that. And I found myself kind of, I spent some money on the GTN so I can make some, what do you call them? Invasion forces
Right,
and
invasion
all that kind of
forces,
stuff.
right.
But what frustrated me is that I'm still short of my goal. And from what I can see from the thread, a lot of that stuff, it's locked to legacy. So it's not very alt friendly, this new interface either.
Gotcha.
So like if I do it on this tune, I can't jump over to my other tune and do all the same things. You know what I mean?
You know, it's funny because whenever I did want to do the old Conquest, right, because the gear, crafting was all repeatable, right?
Right.
I mean, even though it didn't give you a ton, it was repeatable, right? So I mean, and I always had tons of the mats, and so if I did want to do it, I'd jump in and send all 6 or 8 of my companions off and do 5 each, and
Right.
Do it that way.
Exactly. And so they're asking for the feedback to keep coming. I'm going to bring up I'm not going to talk about this week. Only in that I haven't had time to kind of dive through it all. This got posted basically by the time I worked on the show, went to the golf tournament, came back, we went to dinner and came back, and I'm like, oh crap, like this whole thing I have to digest.
Right.
I'm not going to go through it all, but what I do want to put out there is that there is a thread, okay, going right now, and it is called Conquest. I mean, it's part of the same thread, and it says, they list their goals, some of the areas they were aiming to address. They talk about our feedback, the mission objectives that changed, objective points that are too low, and that kind of thing. So what I'm going to say. Oh my God, there's a lot of them. Crafting changes too harsh, large yield. So these are the points that people brought up and they're countering. So the only one I'm going to focus on is objective points too low. So I just want to talk about this one and we'll come back next week with the rest. Does that sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
So it says with the rebalance conquest objectives, there's a general sense that completing your personal conquest takes too long and by proxy guild invasions as well. Their plan, they're going to lower the personal conquest target of 15,000 per week down from 20. They're also going to adjust the planetary yield targets to be, and this is for the guilds. Obviously, the small is now 200,000 down from 460.
That's a big drop.
Yeah, 550 down from 1380, meaning 1,380,000. And this will happen in our next patch, which they're saying possibly next week.
Okay.
So they're working. And look, guys, and this is the thing that I love about these guys is that as much flack as we give them,
They're still responsive.
they sat there for what is today? Thursday. They sat there for 2 days and watched all the feedback come in. And they're like, all right, what can we do?
Exactly.
And in the next patch, which theoretically could be Tuesday, they'll address some of what people are complaining about. And
Exactly.
I think that's all we can really ask for,
That's really all you can ask for.
Yeah. So anyway, man, I don't want to belabor the point here, but let's anything else while you're yawning into my microphone?
Seriously, that scotch is really knocking me on my ass. I'm a lightweight.
I am, God, disappointed. Doesn't even scratch the surface.
Sorry. No, I don't have anything else.
No, disappointed in you.
I know.
Oh, good.
I was
So
kinda-
we're on the
I
same.
was kind of skipping past that.
We're on the same página. That's page in Spanish. You're looking at me sideways. I don't know.
Anywho, no, I don't have anything. I'm excited to jump on the game this week and try it out.
on
for
it. Jump
Jump
on
on
it.
it. Jump and try it out for myself, and then we'll talk about it next week.
Cool, man. Star Wars time? Oh. I'm taking that as a yes.
Hit start. Go ahead.
I was raised to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
All right. Well, here we are. Star Wars time, dude. What do we got this week? We got lots of stuff.
Yeah, well, not a ton, but
I said we have lots of stuff. No, we don't have a lot. Okay, continue.
well, you're the one that put this first one in.
Oh, crap. So there was one quote from this I wanted to pull out of here, and the headline is Mark Hamill says playing Luke Skywalker is much more enjoyable now than the original trilogy, and you can see that, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're making the original trilogy and you're 18 to 25 years old, you're not going to relish the experience and understand the gravity of what you're doing.
Right.
You're just basically living by the seat of your pants at that time in your life.
Yeah.
But now, 30 to 40 years later, especially after the career that he's had, you can definitely, understand it and grasp it a lot better.
Indeed. And so he says, I had a beginning, a middle, and end with this thing. I didn't think that even if they went on and did new films, they'd ask us to come back. This is him talking about the original trilogy. He says, it's so much more enjoyable now because you have a little perspective. When you're in your 20s, it was my first film, and it was like, they're all going to be like this, and then he says, I think the most gratifying thing it generated aspect. The original fans have grown up. They're sharing them with their children, and they're timeless in a way. And
Well, I mean, hey, you talk about your daughters all the time.
all the time. And honestly, man, my kids know Luke Skywalker. We watched the original trilogy. We've watched now, and actually, now that we're talking about it, I actually recently watched The Last Jedi again.
Right.
And with my kids on Sunday night. And it was great. They were there. They got it. There was a couple points where, like, okay, we had to explain a couple things for my youngest daughter who's 6. But they love Leia. They love Luke. They love Finn. They liked Rose. I mean, it was really a lot of fun sitting there watching it with them.
Yeah,
you know?
and honestly, I think they're kind of alive at the right time, whereas the original trilogy
What's up, Red?
didn't openly really talk about like the concepts of race or
Right.
diversity or anything like that. The prequel trilogy was like in your face,
Right.
racist in some ways.
But there's also
But
like
these are like they're able to see. I mean, seriously, as mixed race children,
Yeah.
they're able to see themselves up on screen finally.
Absolutely. And so I think one of the parts that kind of stood out for them too, they like actually, which is counter to what the fan base likes, the Canto Bite stuff.
Right.
But the fact that they freed the animals and like that
Exactly.
kind of stuff really resonated with them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a big deal. Like the Star Wars fans like, oh, just hit us over the head with freeing animals. It's like, yeah, but free animals.
Exactly.
Like actually fight for a cause. Like actually do a thing and stand up for what's right. And my kids, they got that, and I thought that was kind of cool.
What I think, and honestly, we didn't talk about this at all when we were reviewing the film, is when you think about it in that context, in that Finn and Rose had this overwhelming objective,
Yeah.
right? But it doesn't dissuade them from the fact that they can make smaller changes
Yeah.
in the right. So it's a good idea of not getting so tunnel visioned on your ultimate goal that you
Right.
ignore the day to day.
You forget the bigger stuff. And what I thought was actually kind of interesting, because they do tie it all in, the kids they interact with and the kids at the end. But one of the things, Finn says something about, I'm trying to remember. He said something about freeing something or doing something like, and you're right. It's this idea of like we have all this at stake, but like, oh, it had something to do with the people that are gambling at the spot,
Right.
and he makes some comment. I can't remember what he says, but it's more like now I feel better knowing that these people have been affected by this. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna hurt. Like they're all rich, but they're gonna hurt somehow because of what we did. And I think that's
Exactly.
super important. You know?
And that's obviously talking about the wealth gap. And
Yeah,
and that sort of
exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
And I think Red has a problem.
Red is in the chat room. What's up, buddy?
He's got a man crush on Finn. Who doesn't, by the way?
I'm with you. So does my youngest daughter.
Poe definitely does.
Zoe's in.
Nice.
All right, man.
Yeah, we have just a couple little bits of I mean, we're in that kind of
We're in a lull.
well, we're in a lull because we have a new movie coming out next month, and in 2 months, and
Still don't have a trailer. Sorry,
well,
continue.
we've had 2 teasers.
We don't have a full trailer yet. 2 months out.
Why don't you cry about it? And
I think it's significant. Continue.
and
I brought it up last week. That's what I'm saying.
I know, and we're 2 months out. So I mean, and they don't want to spoil too much about it, and so we're getting these little stories, especially in response to the Blu-ray release of Last Jedi.
Right.
So we talked about last week how they're doing a score-only version for the Last Jedi, and Ryan Johnson came out and said it confirms a detail that John Williams has actually purposely done. I mean, you have the initial fanfare that everybody knows, but he actually tweaks it a little bit for each individual movie.
Does he? Okay.
Like it might be a little brighter in one, or it might be darker in another, and like just the use of different instruments or whatever. But it's always the same melody,
Huh. That's
but
interesting.
different nuances to it.
Yeah.
And he says that you can definitely hear the strength of why Williams is always nominated for Oscars when you watch it with just the score.
Just the score. Yeah. Well, I mean, he brings so much to these movies, man. What else we got?
So Frank Oz made a comment this week. This is about the possibility of a Yoda standalone movie. There's no news about it, but he said that if they do a Yoda standalone movie, it has to be CGI like they did in the prequels.
Yeah.
Because he said he will rehearse for a week just to get one line of dialogue
Yeah.
as a puppeteer.
Right.
It's just so hard. So to do a full length movie, it would be
I mean, it'd be hundreds of hours.
exactly. It would
Yeah.
be at his age, it'd be incredibly difficult.
And Eddie, you're right. He is the best. But the problem is with puppeteering and just to bridge the gap between some of the other stuff that I listen to and content I engage in, the Writing Excuses people, one of the people on that podcast is a puppeteer
Oh,
and a writer.
right.
And she'll bring
It's
her
tough work.
Yeah, she'll bring her puppeteering background. This is Mary Robinette Cole. She'll bring her puppeteering background into the conversations a lot. And it's always relevant. And a lot of it has to do with the fact, like, it's not like you can just do a thing. It's like it takes so much time and a knowledge of the craft to be able to execute it in the way, especially for the big screen. It's got to be insane.
Not only especially for the big screen, but for such an intricate character.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
such an important character and with such high expectations.
And so I think, if it's not CG, I mean, it'll be there all day.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. So
literally all day.
yeah, I mean, as far as we know, it's still not even in development,
Right.
let alone pre-production. But if it were, Frank Oz says that's the way it's going to have to be.
Yeah, I'm with you, Red. Origin story for Finn would be great. But, I mean, do you think if they did a Yoda movie, I mean, obviously they can pick, they have 900 years to play with, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think they'll probably focus something around, I'm thinking more prequels
Honestly, what I think would be
or a
nice,
little before.
Yeah, what I honestly think would be great would be if they took a full season of the Forces of Destiny cartoons that they do
Yeah.
and do a whole background on he and Maz Kanata.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Because, they're both about 1,000 years old.
Right. And maybe they grew up together. Maybe they're in the hood together. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying? It'd be sick.
I really have to go blow my nose. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm going to start this next one just because I'm doing it. Shoot. What is the next one? Oh, I don't want to do this one without him. So we're gonna wait just a second. He'll be back in a minute. Red, you have more things to say. He's a couple hundred. Who's a couple hundred? You don't know. Oh yeah, Chewie. Yeah. Oh, I'm behind. Oh shit. What do we got? Wait till the Jar Jar. Oh, Jar Jar standalone. Gross. That sounds terrible. And not just because I don't like Jar Jar, and I don't have any issues really with Jar Jar, but I mean, what story are you gonna tell? Him being clumsy in the freaking room? Like, come on. Just because he's clumsy doesn't make a compelling story. There was talk of Jar Jar. I didn't want to start the next one without you because I thought this was awesome for our show premise. Have you heard about this?
Oh, yeah.
So, let's see. There's not a lot of information about this, but for the Solo movie, there's several partners, advertising partners. And of course, one, I think very fittingly, had to be Solo Cups.
Oh, of course. Two things about this. One, I love that Lucas Marketing really does pick their mark. I mean, yeah, for Force Awakens we had a lot of makeup and stuff like that, but that really spoke to the female base and
Right.
a percentage of the male base. But my favorite marketing so far has been the Nissan Rogue.
Yeah.
For Rogue One.
No, I love that with the car. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is awesome. I mean, especially since right after Force Awakens came out, there was that meme of the Kylo Ren saber going through the Solo Cup.
Yeah. And it says, there's really nothing about it outside of the fact that it says, our 6 promotional partners for Solo, A Star Wars Story, have done a fantastic job developing first-class, innovative campaigns in support of the film. And this is the SVP Global Marketing Partnerships at Walt Disney Studios. And it says, we're excited to share the compelling experiences and relevant activations that our partners have created for our fans. I cannot wait to see the campaign behind Red Solo Cup.
I know. I mean, the funny thing is like the quintessential thing about it is that it's red.
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to change put a Solo design on and just
I mean,
get rid of red?
look, they do have other colors. They have the blue and some other
Right.
stuff, but it's the brand. It's a Solo brand. So what are they going to do? Like, I would love it if he's trying. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to sell the brand, or he's trying to, sell the brand to get money or whatever. Like, I don't know. I think it'd be really interesting to see what the
or
commercials
just
would be like.
have them be in cantinas.
Yeah, and in the cantina is like, what cup do you want? Or what drink do you want? I'll have the Solo.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a Solo cup. I don't know, something stupid like
Something
that.
stupid.
That was off the top of my head. I don't know. But I thought that was really kind of cool.
Eddie's got it right on the money.
What did he say?
You got to bring your red Solo cups to the movie with you with their favorite frosty beverage.
Wait, I'm doing that anyway.
I know, right?
I just may not bring a Solo cup to make it obvious, but I'm doing it. Ready?
Ready.
What do we got?
Ready.
What are you, 13?
I have no idea what that was.
Wow.
Wow. All right.
Oh, yeah, we all bring Solo cups and they fill it with booze.
There we go.
Except we're in the wrong theater.
I know, right?
I'm
All
moving on.
right. With the Captain Obvious quote of the week,
Yeah.
Mark Hamill has come out and claimed that Luke's Episode 9 return is all in J.J. Abrams' hands.
Yeah.
Duh.
Well, duh, but also like that means they didn't have a clear plan in a 9. That means they got to figure out Leia. That means they got to figure out Solo.
Well,
But
yeah.
what I'm saying is JJ, like Ryan did his thing and now he's like, all right, peace, I'm out.
Exactly.
And now JJ's gonna be like, okay, what did you do in 8? Really? That's what you did in 8? Okay, now I got to figure out what am I gonna do with these people,
Well, the funny thing
especially.
is Ryan probably said the same thing going after Force Awakens.
Well, no, and I'm with you, but also like, it's the Leia thing that gets me. I think a little more than anything else. It's like I honestly think not that they should have written her out of 8 because they expect her to be around for 9, but she had passed when they were still editing, right?
Yes.
Like, I honestly feel like they should have left her in that last part, but obviously the impact to the end would have been different and all that.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I worry a little bit about what 9's gonna be like, or what they're gonna do with Leia in 9. So that's my big thing.
Where is my voice going?
I don't know, bro, but we got to finish this. You're blowing it.
Seriously, my voice is like disappearing.
I don't know. That's not good.
It was so weird.
Good?
All right.
Better?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right, so we got to get to our talk on Rebels. What the F is going on with my voice?
I don't know. Do you want to skip the Rebels thing? I'm worried about it now. We have other stuff to cover, not a whole lot, but clear your throat, take a break. I don't know. I'll talk about Rebels for a minute. Not in the mic though. That'd be great.
That's why I turned the mic, dude. All right, is that better?
Yeah,
It seems to be a little bit. All right.
I mean, it's better, but
Let's go.
all right, man. So Rebels. If you have not watched Star Wars Rebels yet, we did give you a little heads up last week that we were going to do it.
All right, Red, I might not be your friend for a little bit right now because you're just saying that Rebels is the new holiday special of Star Wars. No.
Okay, well, whatever.
Rebels is good.
Well, Red. All right, so let's jump into this. So to pad out the show, we're going to spend 5-6 minutes maybe talking about Rebels.
Right.
And I don't necessarily. All right, later, Red. Yeah, it's horrible, he said. Okay, so but I don't care about that. So we're gonna talk about it for a bit. Come back, Red, if you want. I'm not. My plan is not to spoil a whole bunch, but I do want to talk about a few things.
Right.
So let's get into this. We did give you some heads up last week, everyone.
Yeah,
So-
and we've been talking about it for 2 minutes without saying anything. So
Yeah, exactly.
If
So
it's still on, it's your fault.
here we are. All right. So what do you want to talk about first?
I think we should just basically talk about the last 5 episodes.
Yeah.
After the hiatus, it came back with a bang.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about. No pun intended there.
No, I talked about it last week.
Right, but you talked about how it really
See, Eddie-
affected your daughters. So why don't you talk
It did, and I'll talk about this. So after the hiatus, we came back, and I did talk about this a little bit last week. I didn't want to spoil anything, but what happened was we lost somebody big, and I'll give everybody a few seconds to get out of the chat if it's a spoiler thing. It's all over the internet, obviously, but 3, 2, 1. We lost Kanan in that first episode coming back, and the way we lost him though was it couldn't have been. I mean, if I ever meet Filoni again, I might give him a hug and just be like,
beautiful.
like you could not have sent someone that we love so much, comics, Rebels wise, and been attached to for almost 4 whole seasons. Couldn't have sent him better. He was saving his friends. He was blind. He had some resolve with Hera.
Yeah, well, that's what I actually loved about it is that they really set it up throughout the whole 10th season. That they were really kind of giving the whole physical construct of their relationship some weight.
Yeah. And you could tell like they had that connection going, and then right before he goes, you see his eyes come back. And I thought that was really powerful. Like the fact that he was able to look at her.
Well, and she was trying to save him, and he physically stopped her.
Right. But like there's this. So, and I'll talk about this again when we talk about the finale, is the idea of him holding off multiple things.
Right.
He's basically has a hand in the air saying, stay back to his friends. Right. There's this going on over here.
Right.
And then he's staving off an entire explosion so that his friends can get away. I haven't rewatched it because I'm afraid to, but I really want to.
Exactly.
My daughter afterwards, after that moment when he was gone, she was sitting between me and my wife, my oldest daughter. This is my 9-year-old, newly 9-year-old. She said, "I don't want to watch this anymore," and was crying.
Yeah.
And I feel like I obviously am upset that she was crying, but and going into it, I had no idea that was going to happen. And my wife looked at me when we were watching that last episode, and she's like, "Have you done your research on this? Is anybody going to die?" I said, "As far as I know, no." But what was important about that is the fact that she is crying means that the show had impact, and it was well written, and that it meant something.
Absolutely.
We were all invested in this. We've been watching this for years, and the fact that when we lose somebody
honestly,
like Kanan, it's a huge deal.
She's been watching for half of her life.
She has been. And the fact that we've been watching this show since was she 9, since she was 5.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a big deal. And losing Kanan was a big deal to her. And that, to me, not that I wanted to see her upset, but the reaction means a
connection
lot.
she had,
The
yeah.
weight
Yes.
that comes along with that. So, to me, that episode was brilliantly done. What a way to end a hiatus. And then we get into the rest of it. So
Yeah, well, the next important thing we have to talk about is the introduction of. I mean, I read some articles about this. It's not really time travel; it's more like time windows,
yes,
and not everybody has access to it.
right,
So, but what it is if you remember the end of the second season, we got no closure on what happens with Ahsoka and Darth Vader. I mean, we know that Darth Vader obviously survives, but we don't know if Ahsoka dies or whatever. We find out at this point that she did die in that timeline.
right,
But in these windows, what I think besides Ahsoka, what this really talks about Ezra is that he's in these windows and he acts rashly and saves her and pulls her out through the window, the time window. And so Ahsoka is now alive again. Well, theoretically, I mean, technically.
Well, that's how she was. Yeah,
Yeah, technically she never died because he had pulled her out.
Right, yeah.
It's the whole time travel thing. But when he sees, he starts running for Kanan's window, and when he gets there, Ahsoka talks to him, and you could tell Ahsoka kind of became that mentor role.
yeah. It's like, look, this is not. It's not something you want to keep doing.
Right.
It's not something you should do, even.
Right, because if he does do that, then he was on that ship. He would have died. So could he?
Right.
It's a whole paradox thing. But it shows that he's willing to understand that the Force. He's not gone. He's in the Force.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the season, and the next episodes after that were great. I loved all the cameos, people coming back.
Yep. It was really about Lothal.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
And I'm glad they brought it back to Lothal, because that's where everything started with Rebels.
Yeah, Wedge was there.
Yeah, and I just think that with Lothal, like, I hope that Lothal comes back on the big screen, maybe, or in the TV shows.
Well, considering you could tell it has such a huge connection to the Force.
Yeah, and only in that, not that the temple's there, but the fact that we spent 4 years in and around Lothal, and all of these other characters that we knew from the movies and everything else and the larger world had come through Lothal and were affected by Lothal.
Yes.
Like, why don't we, like, I don't know, I doubt the next animated series or even live action series will come back to it, but I wouldn't mind some references. I wouldn't mind some connections to, like, hey, there was a Jedi living on this random planet.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or, you have that being, the middle being, the big, I don't remember what they call it now, but, and then you have the Jedi Temple. Like, there's a lot going on here that they can, even if just tangentially bringing in the larger scheme of things, would be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
I completely agree. I mean, and it's funny to think about is that we've spent more time on Lothal than we ever had on Tatooine.
Or Hoth or anywar else.
All
Yeah.
these- exactly.
And Tatooine is a huge base
of storytelling.
Yeah. I mean, within the Star Wars universe, Tatooine is like the rock.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, this is where it started. This is where it came back to. And I feel like going forward, Lothal would be nice, because they do talk about at the end of the series, after that, they talk about the Battle of Yavin. They talk about all these other things, but all of that is connected to Lothal. I think that'd be pretty cool. So, yeah, Blake, to answer your question, Rebels is 100,000% worth looking into. It's a brilliant series.
Yeah, and yes, it is animated, but it's not bad in the slightest. I mean,
No,
there are
no.
cheesy episodes, just like with any show.
Yeah, there's a couple episodes, like there's the droids episodes, like episode 2, 3, or 4, somewhere in there, where it's like, okay, it's just more of a cameo episode. But
exactly. But that was to get eyes in.
Yeah, but I mean, you have Ian McDermott coming in and playing the Emperor at the end. You have what's his name play Lando? Did he
No,
do?
it was
No,
Edward
it was the other guy. Yeah. But anyway, you have all the voice actors, you have all this stuff coming up, and I mean, I think it's worth it. You see Obi-Wan, you see Yoda, you see all this stuff, and I think it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Absolutely. And now, especially Blaze, since you haven't watched it yet, we're going to talk about the very end. We don't necessarily need to talk about. Well, no, we kind of have to, because we have to use the Rebels ending as a starting off point with what we think the next animated series is going to be. There's a great article that was on comicbook.com that actually gives 7 ideas that they think are the most likely ones, and I'll just run through them really quick. At the very end of the trailer, we find out, or the very end of the series, we find out that Hera had gotten pregnant and she had a child. Now, the biggest connection...
And you see that child.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing about this is that you understand is that his name is Jason. Jason Syndulla.
Jason
which is
Solo.
obviously a connection to Jason Solo in,
Right.
in what is now the Legends run. But being the son of a master Jedi and a world class or universal class pilot.
Yeah. It's exactly what Jason Solo was.
Exactly.
In the EU. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really, really big that way. Now, actually, an article I put in here is there's actually other properties in the Star Wars universe are already asking for the rights to use his character.
Really?
Yeah. So, like Lucasfilm, Animated is talking about it. Games wanted it.
Interesting.
I mean,
Okay.
he had maybe 15, 20 seconds of screen time.
At
and
max.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, the 7 ideas that comicbook.com says is that it could do the Force Unleashed.
Yeah. I doubt it, but
Right. It would be, that's their idea. They could do the Shadows of the First Order. It's a similar concept to doing the Force Unleashed, but it would fill in time frames between 6 and 7.
yeah.
Right, and we'd also be able to talk about Origins of Snoke, maybe. There's
Yeah.
a whole bunch of things that they could tie up. The third idea is possibly what Luke does between Jedi and getting on Ahch-To. So we'll talk about the building of the Academy and,
Yeah, I like that.
and the Knights of Ren and all that stuff. Redoing Shadows of the Empire and with Prince Zizor.
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't think they'll do that, but yeah. I got you.
Well, using it as a base is very similar how like they use the Thrawn trilogy as a basis for the 4th season.
Right.
The Undying Master was their idea about talking about Qui-Gon and him training under Dooku and figuring out how to become the first Jedi to create a Force ghost.
Oh, interesting. I like that.
That would be kind of cool. And then my favorite concept is, the 6th one is the Spark of the Resistance. So it would talk about the origins of the Resistance.
Yeah.
after-
Kind of like basically what Rebels was all about anyway. Oh, no, you mean the Resistance as it is in episode
Force
7, 8,
Awakens,
9?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, yeah, so there's that. But my favorite one is, well, actually, they don't even talk about this. Okay, my favorite idea isn't actually in this list. Their 7th idea is the Old Republic,
Yeah.
which would be, I would much rather see that in a live action.
Yeah, same here.
But what I would love to see would have it be a buddy show with Ahsoka and
Ezra?
no, the Mandalorian.
Sabine.
Sabine, because at the very end of the series, after Endor, this takes place after Endor, they go off together to find Ezra.
Yeah.
I think that is the
Well, I think that makes the most sense.
yeah.
But I also think it's a bit of a, for Filoni, I think it's a bit of a softball. I think that is going to happen in the side stories either way.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not going
You
to
know
be the
what I mean?
main story, but very much how like Ahsoka and Lando or Hondo kept coming in throughout the series.
Right.
You would find new main characters, and you would touch on the
I got you.
Ahsoka Sabine search for Ezra.
I got you.
Because I mean, the fact that Ezra and Thrawn are out in the outer reaches, they've got to bring them in again somehow.
I agree. I'm going to skip the Battlefront stuff.
Okay.
And really, the only reason I'm skipping it is because, one, I don't play Battlefront 2, and also in that they're revamping things that they probably should have done in the first place. Has to do with loot boxes and everything else. We'll either put it on the newsletter. I've got in the show notes I just highlighted it because they were skipping it. So let's
right.
move on. Parks news.
Yeah, we've got 2 different parks news. We talked about it last week that Disney was remodeling Pirates of the Caribbean to change the auction scene to a loot auction scene. It's done at Disney World, and it's opened up. If you open up the link, you can actually show a picture. I don't know if you want to show it up to them.
Maybe. Depends.
But it is kind of cool. I mean, it looks very similar. It has them carrying loot and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. Okay. So she's not leading the scene, but she's...
No.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Well, what I'm guessing is she's probably the pirate, and the auctioneer is somebody who's working for her.
I just superimposed it on there for those of you watching along. But I think, I'm really intrigued to see what they do at Disneyland. Is it going to be the same, you think?
Same sort of change.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
nice.
so I'm excited to see that in July.
Yeah, same here.
This I'm very excited about because for those of you who've been listening to us for a long time, you know that we are both very unhappy, not very unhappy, but very perturbed about what they do with the Hollywood area in California Adventure.
Yeah.
It's a bad use of space.
It's very lackluster. It's not very Hollywood. Like outside of like the trolley coming through with the Newsboys thing, and they're singing. There's that really cool bar right there. Yes. But outside of that, like in there is like I don't know, Monsters Inc. ride and like some other random stuff. And they change those spaces for various things, but it's not. I don't know. It just doesn't have that feel that it should.
If you remember when California Adventure first opened up in 2001, I believe, that was actually a limousine ride hosted by Joan Rivers.
Right. Okay.
And that's what made it like Hollywood. It was like a red carpet experience. I still think that. I mean, I think that ultimately they're going to get rid of the Monsters Inc. ride. I think what they should do is make a suspended coaster designed on the car on the doors.
Okay.
The door scene for Monsters Inc. would be great. I mean, we're a long way away from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Remember when you came out to that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and that part of the park has undergone a lot of changes, and I honestly I like that part of the park, but it feels empty. Like you walk over there, there's rotating attractions. They have that bar there that rotates as well. You can get a random beverage, and there's the bathrooms, and then there's some picture taking opportunities, and there's the Monsters Inc. ride, and then there's whatever is over there. You know what I mean? Like And I think last time I was there, they were doing pictures with Spider-Man or something. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it was a big, huge experience when Tron Legacy came out. Stuff like that. But it's not only that; they're actually closing down a lot of It's Tough to Be a Bugland.
Okay. Is that going away for sure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they've already shut down the It's Tough to Be a Bug show. But this is all we've totally buried the lead. It's all becoming Marvel.
Good.
And it's happening at 3 different parks.
Makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah. Well, they've already changed Tower of Terror to the Guardians Breakout.
Yeah.
But it's happening at 3 different parks. It's happening at California Adventure, at I think it was Paris, and Hong Kong.
Yep.
So it's not even happening at Disney World. So this is very cool that we're getting this experience before, because Disney World is usually the place where they try stuff. And then,
exactly.
So it's kind of cool that we're getting this first. I'm very excited because it's.
But let me tell you, dude, like the last time I was there, and I don't know if you've seen it outside of, have you been on Mission Breakout yet?
I have not.
You haven't. So outside of that ride, they do a whole, I mean, it's like the coolest thing ever. They have someone come out as Gamora, and they have someone come out as Star-Lord. And they do a whole show. They've got the mics on. They bring people up. They're dancing. They're doing a whole thing. Like, it's absolutely brilliant. It's really freaking cool. And this is right outside of Mission Breakout.
Right.
If they expand that out, you know, and like I said, they had the you know, pictures with whatever superhero, I think it was Spider-Man, I don't remember.
Right.
But the bottom line is like you have this, throw in another attraction, and then have your meetups and have all your theming around Marvel. I think that'd be amazing.
Exactly. And kind of going off what Blay is saying is that, they're getting rid of the Bugs Land area, but the funny thing is that actually wasn't an original part of the park either.
Right.
That took over for what was called the Bountiful Harvest.
Yeah,
area.
I remember that. Because I went there at a very early stage. Remember, I've gone there every year.
Yeah, well, I was working for the Disney company when all the plans came out for this.
Oh, wow.
And, so that was there. But now with the addition of Cars Land, Bugs Land is really kind of not needed.
No, it's not.
Because all the traffic goes to Cars Land.
Well, it's not.
And they've also redone the boardwalk as the Toy Story Midway.
And that area of the park is brilliant. I love
Yeah.
that part of the park.
They changed the orange zipper to, isn't it Jesse with a lasso instead and stuff like that?
Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's changed throughout there. But anyway, man, that's exciting. I cannot wait to see what the parks end up to be, especially if they're Marvel theming it. I am in.
Absolutely. All right, let's quickly go through usual roundup.
We tangented a bit tonight.
A little bit.
Oh my god. All right, let's move on. Here we go.
I can't imagine any kind of future where I'm a hero.
Well, you're not.
In the future, none of you are heroes.
You're legends.
So we don't actually have a whole lot for this section tonight, which is rare.
No, I mean, this section is really shrunk because of the newsletter.
Yeah.
We don't talk a lot of, but this way we can actually focus on a couple of big things.
I think this is good. So the one thing I want to put in here is that obviously the Rampage game is near and dear to my heart. And then we have the Rampage movie coming out. And then they have a Rampage game coming back to the arcades, but it's not the game.
What is it?
It's like, it's super weird. There's not a whole lot about it, but here's the thing.
Is it going to be like the Jurassic Park game?
It says the new Rampage game will be more of like a redemption game where up to 3 players will be able to move a joystick and tap buttons like crazy in the hopes of winning tickets to purchase prizes.
I gotcha.
Yeah, there's a chance it could play like the older games where you do all the cool things that we all love, but
Like punching windows and eating people.
yeah, it just seems like from the pictures and stuff, and you can see the link in the show notes, it doesn't seem like it's going to be. Just put the damn game back.
I know, right?
Didn't cost me anything.
Yep.
It's like the game is like can run on my phone.
Yep.
It can run on like this beer,
Exactly.
like which is empty, which is sad. So what do we got? Real reviews, and I don't know if you wanted to do it this way still or not. But
I screwed up before, so this is right.
okay, this is cool. So real reviews section, TV, movies, and I'm gonna. Oh God, I don't want to tangent, but I won't do it for long. I promise. So Rick and Morty season 4? ?
Yes.
Now there's some. Not okay. So first of all, Adult Swim has never like broken their neck to try to meet any deadlines. Like they're just gonna put out what they put out when they put out, right?
Well, the big thing about this is that they haven't even picked up the show yet.
No, and part of this, and I've only listened to the half of it because that's all that's been released. But Dan Harmon was interviewed by Kevin Smith on Smodcast.
Oh, really?
I just listened to it.
That'd be a good interview.
Early, part of yesterday and into today. It's a really good interview. It's only part of it Dan Harmon had to take off. And so I don't know when the other half's going to happen.
Right.
But it was more his origin story. But there was a moment in there where he said, oh, well, we don't know what we're doing quite yet, kind of thing. And I think it's because it's so popular now, they're in negotiations is really what it comes down to.
Well, plus it doesn't, I mean, he's actually come out and said that he drinks a lot. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we are. Rick and Morty's brilliant. We've had 3 great seasons.
Pickle Rick.
But what are we going to do? Like at this point, they have to go and figure out, all right, are we going to go forward? What are we going to do? And how much money is going to happen? All that stuff. So, I don't know, man. The internet's not happy with the fact that,
is the internet ever happy?
well, and actually the actual headline of this story is the internet reacts to, or overreacts to, what is it? Why the internet is overreacting about Rick and Morty season 2. And I have the link in the show notes. Show notes is on Nerdist.
This episode of Nerdist News is brought to you by Capital One.
Is that
why the web is
people are gonna be angry
overreacting
no matter
to Rick
what.
and Morty.
But
I mean, this is almost like this is a fan base that'll jump on top of tables and berate minimum wage employees because they don't have a particular kind of sauce.
accurate.
Yes. All right, well, let's move on. Tell me about the Matrix story. This is interesting. We talked about a couple months ago that the Matrix was getting a revamp.
Yeah. So this is interesting. And I actually had heard this on something else too. It says it's not. From what I can understand, it's not going to be a full-on reboot.
Just a continuation.
I think it's going to be more of a continuation
extension.
thing. It says I've been. Let's see. While speaking with Screen Rant, Penn spoke about how he wants to revive The Matrix, not reboot it. He says, I've been working on The Matrix right now, which is in a phase right now, which I don't know what that means. It's a franchise I've desperately wanted to see brought back, and I can't go into too much detail, but I've been harassing Warner Brothers for years, trying to get it going again. And it's one thing I've been working on, and I've been working on a bunch and other things too.
Okay, well, just...
He also compares it to RPO. He compares it to Ready Player One as well. He says, I think the Oasis is similar. Both the Matrix and Oasis are similar in that they are brilliant ideas for universes. And that kind of thing. So that continues. So I don't know what's going to happen with this, but
well,
anyway.
I think the most obvious thing that they could possibly do is, hello, this is almost a 20-year-old spoiler, but Neo isn't the first one.
No.
Okay, they could just go back to, in the
Find another one.
Right, the architect says, well, you're faster than the others. I mean, they had, 9 other ones or something like that?
Something like that.
Go to one of the other ones and follow his story.
Exactly. So,
or what if one of the older ones was a woman?
Yeah. No, I like that. I think they can go a lot of places with this, and I actually really hope the Matrix come back because I really like it.
I even like the second and third one.
Me too. I'm one of those guys too.
Awesome.
Oh, I forgot. I put this in here too. Tarantino's Star Trek, which we talked about a few weeks ago,
right,
may not be R-rated.
I would hope not.
But I think the reason this story is a story is because it's Tarantino.
Right.
And
well, the funny thing is everyone says, well, if Tarantino, it's obviously R-rated. But the funny thing is do you remember the movie Crimson Tide?
Yeah,
Denzel Washington,
really
Gene Hackman. It was a submarine movie.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah, well, there was like a 10-minute scene where they talked about Silver Surfer.
Oh, yeah?
That scene was written by Tarantino. Tarantino has written for PG audiences before.
Yeah. All right. Well, and then we have a...
Please tell me what the start date is for Indiana Jones 5.
Hold, please. I forgot to get the date. Okay, so it says Steven Spielberg confirmed that the 5th Indiana Jones movie will be filming in the United Kingdom next month in April. Just kidding. 2019. Okay. It says April 2019.
Right. Well, that makes sense because he already had one movie that had been in pre-production, and so he kind of has to finish that because they have time schedules and everything. But from what I understand, Indiana Jones is originally going to be like 4th on his list and has been moved up to 2nd. So
and Spielberg says it's always worth the trip when I get to work with this deep bench of talent coming out of the UK, actors and crew, etc. Let's see. He says, everybody who has helped me make my movies here and will continue to help me make my movies when I come back here in 2019 to make the 5th Indiana Jones movie.
Exactly. I mean, especially if they film it in 19, all the editing is done in 20.
Yeah.
If they release it in 21.
And then Ford is going to be in it, but not
I heard
Indiana, right?
I heard he was still going to be the star.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I didn't remember what we talked about last time.
But if they time it right, they could release it on the 30-year, the 40-year.
Yeah, something like that.
Anniversary of Raiders.
Well, what kills me, dude, is that he's going to be 807 years old by the time they do this.
Okay, you know what cracked me up is...
I mean, seriously.
When he did Kingdom of the Crystal Skull,
yeah,
Harrison Ford was older than Sean Connery was in Last Crusade.
That's insane. I just... Anyway, let's get to Universal stuff, man. Legends of Tomorrow, which... I'm
woefully behind on the Arrowverse.
Well, we just haven't watched this last season, but it looks like Constantine is going to come back as a regular in season 4. And the only reason I put this in here is because we've talked so much about Constantine.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's come back and done some guest shots this season. He did a guest shot in season 3.
Because right now they're in season 3, so season 4 makes sense.
Right, so he'll just be joining the Legends.
That's awesome.
That's what it sounds like.
I love it.
Actually, wouldn't it be
the
awesome?
actor is great.
Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't it be awesome if they brought in Constantine and Jonah Hex?
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I
love Hex, dude.
Those two playing off each other would be awesome.
Yeah, Hex is sick. We got some Disney news. I didn't even know they were doing a live-action Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, it actually just got announced.
It sounds terrible.
Yeah, I really don't know how they're going to do it.
Well, they're going to do it CG.
Well, the dogs, obviously, yeah.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Do you find it dumb?
Well, it's just that they're redoing all the Disney movies.
I told you I couldn't even watch Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, no, I actually enjoyed Beating the Beast, but I'm a big Emma Watson fan.
No, I love Emma Watson. Trust me.
And actually, Luke Evans was really good as Gaston.
Okay, here's the deal. All that's fine, but it's still the same movie.
It is the same movie. It actually did add a little bit more about Belle's mother, but
outside of that, it's the same movie.
No, it is the same movie.
Not in cartoon form.
All right. So
I like Harry glossing.
Glossing.
But anyway, Lady and the Tramp, the Lego Ninjago director is going to be doing it.
Yeah, and actually, to be honest, Blake, I haven't seen Jungle Book yet.
I haven't either.
I mean, it is Jon Favreau, so. Yeah.
I haven't either.
Great. Deadpool 2 is had its first test screening scores come out, and actually it came out with one a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't good.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought I saw that.
And so they reworked it, and they did a second and a third showing back to back at the same theater on the same day with two different audiences. And the original Deadpool had a test screening score of 91, I believe. And then the first test, or then the two test screenings on this day after they reworked it. This is one of them had. It was after the reshoots that they did. There's a new secret cameo that's involved, and then they did a couple of different versions. And the first version got a 98.
Oh, okay.
And the second one got a 94. So they were both bigger than the first Deadpool, and they're going with the 98 version, obviously.
So that's good. Awesome.
Yes.
Marvel news.
So, Marvel and Star Wars and basically everything Disney always teams up with Omaze to do contests and everything. I believe Benedict Cumberbatch is doing one where you can get together with him and drink tea and watch the Infinity War. He's British. Robert Downey Jr. is offering a chance to attend the Avengers Infinity War world premiere in New York. So,
all right, cool.
I believe it's in New York. So
yeah, makes sense.
That. Just go to omaze.com and follow the links.
All right.
We talk about pop-up stores occasionally. There's a Funko pop-up store that happens at Comic-Con every year. There was a Friends pop-up coffee shop in New York, in LA for the 20th anniversary. There's a Marvel's Avengers pop-up channel that's going to happen on cable services for the month of April. And it's going to talk about the Avengers Assemble cartoon, but it's going to have a lot of behind-the-scenes content of the new Avengers movie that's only going to be available on that channel.
Nice. I have one more story.
Yes, let's wrap it up with what Kevin Smith has to say.
Well, Kevin Smith, I'm a bit of a fan.
A little bit.
So he actually got to see Ready Player One, and there's I know I have some students that are waiting for this movie. I'm waiting for this movie.
Next Wednesday.
I'm very excited about this movie. So I have a link to Kevin Smith's Twitter. He said, saw Ready Player One last night. I've been thinking about it all day. It's pretty magical movie making. Spielberg reminding us all that he created the blueprint for breathtaking blockbusters. He remains the master, his Kubrick sequence is dazzling. And he adds Ernest Cline saying you made a classic. So
awesome.
Thank you, Smith, for not spoiling anything. But I think that I'm really looking forward to that movie, man. After teaching a novel for years, I'm just excited to see what Spielberg brings to the table.
Yeah, don't forget Spielberg did create the initial blockbuster. Jaws was the first summer movie. And then, of course, he did E.T. He did Indiana Jones.
And Jaws is near and dear to Smith's heart as well.
Absolutely.
And you know he's thinking about that.
And then, of course, he mentions Kubrick. There's obviously an homage in this movie. Spielberg has a huge director crush on Kubrick. And there's no more proof than that when Kubrick died making AI, it was Spielberg that took it over to finish it.
Absolutely. All right, man. Ready to get out of here?
I think we're ready to get out of here.
So, thanks for tuning in The Usual Podcast. If you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And, of course, we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Find us on Twitter. At Darth Pops is me. Will is at Admiral Griggs. Favorite podcatchers, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, all that. Find us there. If you want merch, teespring.com/stores/usual podcast. And please support the show. audibletrial.com/usual podcast. Get a free audiobook on us. And of course, the very best way to support us would be patreon.com/usual podcast. We have a ton of new rewards and I don't know. What's the best way to say it? We have rewards. We have early access. We have blooper reels. We have a ton of stuff on there. And so check us out, Patreon.com/usual podcast. Support us. And especially when we come to Comic-Con season, we can use all the help we can get. It's not a cheap trip.
Okay, really quick here. Sorry to interject something. It's kind of a tangent, but this is actually going to be good for our audiences. For those of you who know me personally, I'm renovating my RV right now.
Okay.
And I found a box, and inside this box, I found a sealed pack of Return of the Jedi cards from 1983.
Really?
And a sealed pack of Indiana Jones cards.
Sealed, huh?
And I don't know. I just might have to put those into a contest sometime soon.
I think that's going to happen. I don't know. Did you have fun while you were finding it? See what I'm doing there?
I did. So I did have a fun, and I want to make sure you all have a fun this week.
Yes, having fun. We'll see you all next week.
Peace.
I was just trying to get you to get to that last point.
Fuck you.
But definitely we'll. If those are sealed, dude, that's a relic.
Yeah, you can still feel the wax on them.
Really? That's crazy, man. All right, thanks, chat room. Blay, it's great having you there as always, man. I will see you
tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Much to your dismay, I'm sure. Good night, buddy. Later.